B2B sales blogs, best practices for engagement in 2025. Your blog is now the first sales conversation. In 2025, most prospects will read your content before they ever reply to an email or pick up a call. B2B buyers are typically 57 to 70% through their research before they contact sales. So your blog is shaping decisions while your team is still unknown. If your narrative isn't present early, competitors get to frame the problem, the options, and the criteria. This is why a B2B sales blog can't live as a marketing project that runs parallel to Outbound. When 69% of B2B buyers consume blog content before engaging with a sales rep, your posts function like an always-on SDR, educating, qualifying, and nudging the next step before a rep ever earns attention. The catch is, attention is short. In 2024, the average reader spent about 96 seconds on a blog post, which means you're earning or losing trust in under 2 minutes. Our goal is simple: publish the right content, make it instantly scannable, and connect every post to an action that moves pipeline. Why B2B sales blogs still drive pipeline when built for sales. A sales-focused blog performs because it aligns with how people buy now. Self-serve first, talk to sales later. The brands that win aren't the ones publishing the most content. They're the ones publishing content that answers the exact questions prospects are already researching across Google, LinkedIn, and vendor sites. There's also a straightforward ROI argument. B2B companies that blog generate 67% more leads per month than those that don't. And that lead flow becomes even more valuable when it's tied to clear SDR follow-up paths. The common mistake we see is treating those leads as marketing-owned and never operationalizing them into a repeatable meeting pipeline. Thought leadership is the multiplier that makes Outbound easier. 52% of decision makers spend an hour or more per week reading thought leadership, and 9 in 10 are more receptive to outreach from companies that publish high-quality insights consistently. If you want your cold email agency messaging or outbound sales agency scripts to land, your blog should do the heavy lifting on credibility first. Define engagement like a revenue team, not a publishing team. Engagement isn't page views. A post can get traffic and still produce 0 meetings if it attracts the wrong audience or never points readers to a next step. The practical move is to align with sales leadership on 5 to 7 shared KPIs and review them alongside outbound metrics, not in isolation. Start by measuring behavior that signals buying intent, especially because you only have 96 seconds on average to earn the click that matters. For example, time on page and scroll depth tell you whether people reached your CTA, while content-assisted opportunities tell you whether your posts are showing up in real deals. Here's a simple KPI structure we recommend to connect blog engagement to SDR and RevOps workflows without overcomplicating analytics. Build a sales-led content engine from real conversations. The most effective B2B sales blogs don't start with keywords, they start with deal intelligence. If buyers are already 57 to 70% through research before they speak to a rep, your editorial calendar should mirror what prospects ask on discovery calls, what stalls late-stage deals, and what causes ghosting after proposals. Operationally, this is where most teams miss. Marketing publishes, sales ignores, and content becomes a library nobody uses. Fix it with a lightweight content request pipeline from your SDRs and AEs. Then turn recurring objections into a backlog of posts that are easy to deploy in sequences, on LinkedIn, and in follow-ups after a no-show. Finally, Design every post around a single next step that matches intent. Educational posts should graduate readers to a framework, checklist, or email sign-up. Comparison and ROI posts should point to pricing context, a case study, or a talk to sales CTA. When you treat the blog like part of your sales development agency workflow, engagement stops being a vanity metric and starts being a pipeline input. A B2B sales blog isn't content for content's sake. It's a reusable sales asset that answers objections before a prospect ever replies. Write for depth, credibility, and speed to value. In competitive B2B categories, shallow posts rarely win. The average blog post length is roughly 1,400 to 1,427 words, but the posts that earn trust and backlinks often go longer because they actually resolve the buyer's question. A common mistake is chasing word count for SEO instead of building a clear, data-backed argument that helps a buyer make a decision. Depth matters because long-form content, 2,000+ words, can generate 55% more inbound leads than short-form content when it's genuinely useful. The key is structure. Lead with the outcome, define the problem in the buyer's language, give a practical framework, and prove your claims with credible data and examples. Speed to value matters because of the 96 seconds reality. Keep paragraphs tight, make the first screen do the heavy lifting, and place a relevant CTA in line before the halfway point so skimmers still have a path forward. If you're in a category where trust is fragile, your blog should read like the best rep on your team: calm, specific, and prepared. Turn posts into outbound assets your reps actually use. Publishing is only half the job. Distribution inside the revenue team is what creates leverage. Standardize how reps use content in Outbound. Which 2 or 3 links belong in every sequence, when to send them, after a no-show, post-discovery recap, or when a prospect goes silent, and what the rep should say so the link feels helpful, not promotional. This is where aligning marketing and an SDR agency, internal or outsourced, pays off. The same best post can support multiple channels. A cold email agency-style sequence, LinkedIn outreach services, and live call follow-ups. When a cold calling team can reference the exact article the prospect skimmed, the conversation shifts from "Who are you?" to "Help me decide." Avoid the common trap of sending content with no context. Reps should always attach a one-sentence reason the resource matters, plus a micro CTA that matches the stage. Reply with one detail, pick a time, or confirm priority. Done right, your blog becomes a compounding asset across B2B cold calling services, email, and social, not a standalone inbound channel. Refresh, optimize, and keep posts tied to the buyer journey. In 2025, publish more is often the wrong answer. A smarter move is a quarterly refresh sprint. Update stats, tighten positioning, add new examples, and improve CTAs on your highest traffic posts. 53% of marketers report higher engagement after updating existing content, and it's usually faster than producing net new pieces from scratch. Optimization should focus on intent alignment, not cosmetic tweaks. If a post ranks but doesn't convert, review whether the narrative matches what your SDRs and AEs say on calls, whether the CTA is relevant, and whether the article addresses real comparison questions prospects ask before they request pricing. This is especially important for teams investing in sales outsourcing or an outsourced sales team, because content must support a consistent pitch across every rep. Treat your blog like a living sales playbook. Use UTMs, track content-assisted opportunities, and regularly identify which posts show up in closed-won journeys versus lost deals. When you can prove that a specific article influences meetings or pay-per-meeting lead generation outcomes, it becomes easier to prioritize updates and get sales buy-in. What to do next? Operationalize the blog as part of your outbound engine. If you want your B2B sales blog to drive pipeline, pick a small set of repeatable actions and execute them consistently. Define your ICP-specific topics, set shared KPIs, build the SDR content request loop, and ensure every high-intent post has a clear next step. When you do that, the blog stops being marketing content and becomes a predictable input to meetings. This is also where SalesHive fits when teams want results without building everything internally. We're a B2B sales agency focused on measurable pipeline outcomes through cold calling services, email outreach, SDR outsourcing, and list building services, and our reps are trained to use content as leverage in real conversations. Instead of letting high-intent readers disappear as anonymous traffic, we connect the dots between content engagement and outbound follow-up. The bar for credibility will keep rising as buyers consume more content before they engage, and the brands that win will be the ones that integrate content and outbound into one system. If you're evaluating a sales development agency, outsourced B2B sales partner, or outbound sales agency approach, prioritize teams that can prove they turn your best posts into booked conversations, not just page views. That's how your blog earns its place as part of your sales engine in 2025 and beyond.